Hello, hello. Good morning. Can you hear me, guys? Let's see. We are live. Okay, cool. We are live. Okay. Hey, well, let's go. I'm all alone on the stream. No one is watching yet. Ow, my hands. We got some music going. Do 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 do. Hello, hello. Hi, Aster. Hi, Max. Hi, Blue. Hi, Marco. Hi, Sveta. Hi, Julie. No, I ain't. Well, I was alone for a while. It was just only me and nobody else. I felt so lonely. All right. Oh boy. Let the grueling begin. I'm gonna wait for 5 minutes for people to join, or 3 minutes. I haven't eaten yet, but we have no food. And my wife went for food. But time is time. I don't think we ever skipped a feedback session and I didn't do it in time. The only reason why we would skip anything or not do something in time is because of technical difficulties. How's music levels, by the way? We are ready. Good, 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 good. How's music, by the way? Not too loud? Can you even hear music? Yeah. Yeah, I just wanna... Good, good. Okay, cool. Alright. 2 minutes till we'll start. Why do I always need to pee or poop right when the freaking lecture starts? Alright, be professional, Misha. Ah, here's my wife with food. Too late. Alright. Let's go all the way to the beginning. Oh boy. Oh! Not too much. Not too little. Just in time. You guys have 2 minutes to upload anything. By the way, did you guys see already Anton's graduation keyframes? He's doing it solely for keyframe purposes, so / storyboard. Hey, we already started. What? We already started. Want to say hi to the stream? Looks like my wife was fighting orcs. What? So hot? Oh yeah, because you coming into the room. Alright. Kaboom. Julie says hi and everyone says hi.
Hello. I brought you peach juice.
You got me peach juice, yes. Peach juice.
Sorry, I was trying
Peach
to make
juice.
it fun.
I know, but you were sending the Cintiq and everything else. Yep, that's love. Thank you. Do I have any snack maybe so I can...
I'll bring you some stuff.
See,
Okay,
guys?
lots of stuff.
Teamwork.
There you go.
Alright, thank you. Peach juice. Oh, the power. Oh! Yeah, it is. She is a super wife. Right. And my body is ready. Is my mind ready? Yeah, we have 9, 10, and 11 for keyframe 1. No, I think, Julie, we can delete homework 10 and homework 11, I think. We'll see. Maybe we'll use it for other things. We'll see. But yeah, guys. Aw, Aster cleaned up her workspace. So cute. Hey, is that a... I think that's a 16-inch Cintiq. Look at this, guys. Aster's... Okay, let's see. Let's investigate. Right, Batman. Cool paintings. Uh-huh. 2 laptops. Because what is better than 1 laptop? 2 laptops. Alright, an interesting portrait. I don't know what it is. Plants. All alive. It's a good person. All of our plants usually are dead. Another plant. Traditional paintings. Okay, let's see what else in there. Okay. Skulls, stickers. Disneyland, Spain. I don't know. Or Brazil. 17 free meals. Oh, cool. Sorry, I'm investigating everything. And Cintiq, 16-inch. With a little pad on it. Sorry, and what else? There's probably a monster somewhere there. And water. Ooh, is that Toby's sparkling water? It's 11 inches? What? A color wheel, yeah. What do you mean? They make 11 inches Cintiqs? There's no way. They do 13, 16, 22, 24, and 32. Okay, they do Mobile Studio Pro in 13 and 16. They do... I'm pretty sure it has to be 16. Or maybe, yeah. It's a 16 one, should be. Yours pretty old? It looks okay. It looks one of them Pro models. I think it's a Cintiq Pro. Right, let's see. We should start already. We're not gonna have too many people today, but that's good. Quality of people. Yeah. I wish my studio looked like that. You wanna see my studio? No, you don't. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna clean it up and then maybe. Alright. Okay, thank you, Julie. You're the best. Alright, shall we? I have it to have it cozy. Yeah, I have to have it cozy too, but... Ooh, I got donuts. Yeah, too bad. Okay, I need to have 1 bite, guys. If I'm not gonna have 1 bite, I'm gonna pass out.
Do you want coffee?
Cheers to you. Coffee? No, it's okay. Peach juice is perfect. I apologize, guys, but... We would have not started in time. Must be wiping at all times. I should invite you to my home so you can help me set up my studio so it's nice and cozy. I had a nice and cozy studio. You want to see my previous studio, guys? I think I already showed you some of them. Let's see if we're flexing. Aster was flexing. Let's be honest. Let me see. See if I have a photo somewhere. Alright. This was my studio back in the days. I had a 24 on a floating arm, an ultra wide, and a nice RGB carpet. And very comfortable sit for Bum Bum, and also a thing for my legs. And I painted the entire room matte black. It was pretty awesome and epic. I miss that studio. Yeah, I miss that. But right now I'm on a little laptop and a little Cintiq 16. I cannot complain. It's still... For the first years I was like on a little Bamboo, and then the little Cintiq companion that... It it was overheating so much that I had to repair the plug twice because the plug was so stupid. It was like a little needle. All right, shall we? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19. All right, too many. I'm preparing my, you know, when you doing squats, preparing my mental game. You believe in me?
Yes.
I have to speedrun this in like 2 hours probably. It'll be good. All right, let's go. Hello, Bukuro. Let's see what you got. And by the way, welcome to feedback session number 7. Woo! Oh, whoops. Right, here we go. All right, Bukuro. All right, guys. Color and light lesson. Okay. So, Bukuro, you have 2 things. I guess those are 2 different approaches. I like that where you pushed it. It's you know, it's pretty close. If we turn it to black and white, now let me have a black and white layer just in case on top of everything. Peach juice. I like your values, man. I like your values, but yeah, muddy colors, and I'll explain why. So you have your context, which is like I'll make it bluer like this, right? And then you have your skin colors, which were pretty okay, but again over here everything is almost one material. Let's look at your colors that you have here with this thingamajig. Right, so you have this for the shadow side because it's hit by a warm light, and then you have a very saturated warm color here. But if we turn it to black and white, it disappears. So it's a good try on elaborating on when I said that saturation affects value, that it looks a little bit brighter, but in this case it doesn't give it justice. So if we want the skin colors to actually shine and to be affected by warm light, we need to do probably something like this, right? So this is your sphere, right? Let's do another sphere. So first we need to figure out what the local color of the skin is going to be under the, you know, the night sky, and I think you had it pretty close. I would just made it maybe a little bit brighter and a little bit more towards purple, something like this. And then let's just have a shadow for it. So like we can go towards, I think, clear purples, something like this maybe. And then let's say we're gonna have the warm orange light. Affected it, and this thing needs to be something like this, I think. Yeah, so we have a more kind of clear halftone on the shadow side. And maybe have a little bit of a rim here, very saturated. Something like this maybe, which is a little bit less muddy, right? You agree? Another thing that we have to understand, there's probably the moon shining from there, so we have to figure out, is the moon going to be shining on the left? If it's going to be shining on the left, you can do like a little rim light for your bowl here, or you can do the same rim light, but it's going to be like maybe somewhere here. That's another thing, guys. When you are figuring your local colors and everything else, you might get you might get distracted by all the things around you, and then the forms and the character and everything else. But what you have to do is simplify everything to the simplest form. So this is a little bit muddy. This is much cleaner. Maybe it's a little bit too bright, but it could be a nice, again, beginning for the thing. Another thing, like the crowd behind, and I like that you are thinking again about the values, that everything is readable. But I think you need to have another pass on, and see, another pass on all of this. What I can do is I can technically go and then fill in his skin. You know, try to do it with the same technique that we discussed yesterday. Just, you know, skin colors. You can keep line work layer on top if you want. But, you know, for people who rely too much just on a, you know, line work layer to explain how clean everything is, you might get screwed over. So, right, so let's have a mid-tone in here. Oh, 1 second. I'll just fill it in like this. Let's have a shadow side, a clear shadow side to this kid, right? And then underneath too. And then I know his legs are half in shadow and half of it is, you know, hit by the light. And then here. So as you can see, just from me doing this, maybe it's a little bit too bright. It's already much cleaner, right? And we can do the same thing with his. I'm not sure if he's just wearing rags that are a little bit, you know, kind of dirty rags. We can do the same thing. And technically, you can figure out the lighting for his rags with the same color ball, right? So you'd say we would pick a middle value, something like this, maybe. Maybe a little bit darker. Yeah. And then we're gonna just go and shift it towards worms over here. Right, and then we can do the same thing here, but do it towards cools. And it's just the colors are much cleaner now. And same thing for his hair. Let's do the same thing for his hair. And again, guys, this is for everybody because I see this as a repeated mistake, is that your colors are becoming overly muddy, and I don't like that. Muddy colors, no good. Right, so let's say his hair. See, I'm maintaining the local colors of his hair. Because his hair is pretty dark, so that means we're not gonna go too bright on them. We can go more saturated if we want to. It's gonna be almost a redhead, right? And then what we can do is we can go into our skin tone colors, and then if there's moon or again the sky, what we can do is we can have a little bit of a bounce light coming from the sky area, getting into his skin tones. So now he has a little bit of bounce inside of him, right? Yeah, and then let's just merge all of this so we can compare, right? So see, very muddy colors, and then I cleaned them up a little bit. And technically you should do with everything. Another thing is you have to figure out like where's your moon is shining from. So as you can see here on this guy, he's shining from the top left. So if it's shining from the top left, then make sure that your lighting is consistent. I know we can lie sometimes, but I think it could benefit this character if he had a little bit of rim here and there, maybe. You know, just shining on the top of his head, even maybe something like this. And another thing is if you have your moon shining, it's also going to affect the grass too. So if you have the moon shining from the left side, what you're going to do is, well, you're going to have some colors pop in from the moon shining on a green grass, right? So it's going to be something like this probably. And I think I already did this paint over once for you. I think you should really pay attention to paint overs that I do, because I'm not doing it just so you throw them away. I'm doing this so you can learn and study from them. Yeah, another thing is like if the moon is shining from this side, what we can do is we can do a very nice and cool and awesome gradient. Something like, you know what, let's do it a little bit more powerfully, like something like this maybe even. I know maybe it's a little bit too bright. You can always do something like this. And then we have the guy on the left. So the thing is, if the guy on the left is hit by the moon so powerfully, right? You kind of already started doing this, but again, it shouldn't be formless. Like for example, why do you have form on the right here, but there's no light there? The way you simplify it is, okay, maybe there's some, you know, there's fire stuff going on, but like if they are going to be hit by the moon too, you have to always define some of their features here and there. that they're hit by the moon. And I'm doing it a little bit crudely because again I don't want to spend too much time on it. And again, the reason why I'm doing it so in depth, so you can all learn from one mistake, guys. So this is not just me, you know, favoring Bucaro and his painting. This is me using his painting to show an example to all of you. And then if we have the guy over here, right? Then let's really, you know, pop him up. Maybe something like this. And he doesn't look really threatening to me, honestly. I would honestly, if I were you, I would probably just paint this guy in. Let's do a duplicate of this thing so I have things to compare. I'll just make him, like, you know, very threatening looking, you know, just standing over everybody. Not this just one pesky little mortal shaman, but this guy is like, you are banished forever, type of a deal. You know? And maybe like have his shape design maybe a little bit more threatening, like maybe it's like you know, there's a really good examples of cool shaman looking guys in Finding Atlantis. Then we can have like a little staff for him if we really want to. And of course he has to be hit by the moonlight. You have to be a little bit in front, and then you had a nice purple whatever that was in there, so let's just get it back in there. And maybe we need to have some variety in his design too, maybe some shoulder pads or something. If we really want to make him spooky, we can have like sorry guys. Maybe he has a hood on. And then has his face in the shadow. I don't know. This is just me thinking out loud. Needs more love, of course. Maybe have like little, you know, tribal something. I don't know. He needs something to his design. Let's just maybe do something like this. I don't know. Maybe it's just gonna be just a spooky face, just looking at him. But he needs to look more threatening, for sure, versus that little dude over there. You know, something like that maybe. Yeah, and then if you really want to, you can have some cool rim lights coming from the back from the fire stuff to really make him pop. Yeah, so it's not perfect yet, but you get the idea. Overall, I would maybe even do, because this boy is the main focus of the painting, I think. Let's see the difference. Doink doink. Okay, cool. Yeah, and we probably will need some more highlights on the shaman with some rim light onto him, something like this, and then the other things also, and then also the the spikes and everything else. And it can be pretty dark around everything else too. Dude. like go away and never come back. Of course, we might need to make this guy a little bit darker now on this side, but see, it's a push and pull. Something like this. That's what you kind of had in the beginning, but of course he still needs to be readable. So maybe what I would do is, you know, I'll do some volumetric thing like something like this, probably. I don't know. Yeah, I need to look at it first and see if it's good or not. Saturation. Let's make it darker. Yeah, something like that, maybe. So they're looking at him, and then let's make you know, a more of a something is leaving the house. More of more highlights on areas where we need to focus on this shaman guy, and then we're gonna have most contrasts somewhere in there. I know that this is pretty rough, but hopefully this kind of shows the general direction that you need to push in technically. Yeah, now we can have a little bit of, you know, we can have a path to the boy with maybe grass in front, right? Something like this. We can have a pretty harsh shadow of this guy. Maybe a few things, you know, on the grass from the fire torches. Yeah, maybe I'll subdue or make it darker. The torch just needs to go back a little bit. I can do something like this, maybe. Yeah, so yeah, I hope you see the difference between this and that. Yeah, that's where you need to push. So first, guys, keep your thank you guys for bless you thingamajig. Keep your local colors less muddy by just creating a sphere and then having more reference. And then make sure that in black and white your values, like a little bit, you know, maybe I can even add a little bit of more light from the torch over here, maybe. You know, so we really are focusing on the boy itself, and it's shining over here, and then we're gonna have more you know, like for example, if he's gonna have the top of his head, it's gonna be more hit by the light from the sky, just to define form. Yeah, so before and after. Yeah, something like this. So local colors, keep them cleaner. The shaman has to be a little bit more threatening, I think. And then see over here and have like points of interest, like here's contrast. I think basically what we did here, but at the same time, I think just the lighting itself is a little bit more dramatic. Yeah, I might change it just, you know, just to see what looks more threatening. Maybe something like this, actually. Right, and then we can have some cool orange saturated highlights over here, maybe where the shaman is standing. Maybe he has like a glowing amulet or something to really make him tribal, you know, some gold looking things just hanging from his, you know, from his thingy. Yeah, so something like that. For every object that you paint within your scene, make sure that you just create like a color ball like this for everything that you're doing there, and just look at the color ball and control it. Like, this is too muddy because I think what you're doing is using multiply on top of everything, I think. And then you have like this, like, unless he's all covered in mud, yeah, it's not a really good skin color. And even I didn't do it perfectly, but I think I did a slightly better job. Not trying to, you know, bring you down, just comes with practice. Yeah, something like that. Now just the lighting is so much clearer, that, yeah, it's just gonna be easier to do stuff with it, you know. Maybe do something like this and his eyes go in there. Yeah, and every time when you're thinking about your forms, just, you know, draw a little grid for yourself so you can describe the form. So this is definitely like a sphere bean thing, and then just define it, and same thing, just see where the planes are and when they're facing, to light them up. But yeah, overall, good job. And then now we can go a little bit faster with everything because I explained. All right, Peggy. Okay, I have only one feedback for this one, and it's probably gonna be this, that it's maybe a little bit empty, even though you probably want it empty, but, you know, just adding a few more interesting shapes as silhouettes for the tree, for example, right? Would just make it look more interesting, because, you know, you have the tree, and, you know, maybe have some foreground elements also sticking, and also it can be a nice thing that it's going to be leading to the character, you know, just a few sticks here and there. And also with those guys, you know, just make the shapes a little bit more interesting again, populate your scene. Just a little bit too clean, too sterile for me. I know there's probably something has to be coming out of that thing or going to her, and like maybe like add a few rocks in here, maybe just, you know, somewhere, something like this, maybe. Let's see if we made it worse. Yeah, so just needs to be a little bit more alive. And if you really want to, you can also do like super foreground element, for more depth, and then leading lines of the character. Because if we have a pretty static composition, then everything else has to benefit. I'm not sure how to do it exactly, so I'm just gonna plant a stick in here, but you do it your own way. Yeah, and then maybe add a little bit more, like highlight things of stuff showing through the fog, so there's more depth to it. Yeah, and also like there's this thing, you can also play with roots a little bit. Yeah, but I really like her, and I like those. Oh, those are the, I guess she's summoning the spirits. Well, if she's summoning the spirits, you can really, you know, everything is so desaturated in this scene. So if you're just gonna add a little bit more of saturation, those spirits gonna pop much more. And then make sure that, well, if they're not glowing and you want them to glow, what you can do is you can. It's really hard to show glow with the spirits that are technically. Well, glow plus glow, it doesn't talk properly. So what you can do a little gradient here, and then you can actually have, like, you know, maybe even little lights coming through, and now you have more of a value range to show your spirits actually glowing and then doing stuff. Right? Because another thing is, why do you have so much space in all of this? Because technically what we can do with this painting, if you're not using all of this space, we can just cut it to like something like this, right? Because everything else is pretty pointless, and you're not using it for anything else. So either do this, you know, or, you know, add something here. It looks like something is missing. So if you want, you can do like a super special tree that is bigger than everything else, that is like spanning out its roots and everything else, and that's where the things come from, for example, right? But I think that just the overall space needs to be used a little bit smarter. Or what you can do is you can just, you know, copy paste this whole thing, you know, and make it you know, make it bigger like this. And then this way, first of all, she's gonna be near center, and then those wisps are gonna come to her, and the composition is gonna look just a little bit better because we're with her, almost behind her, and then we use the, you know, the space around us much better, and then we can add more leading lines to her. Yeah, hopefully you got the idea. Okay, but good job. All right, Daria. Okay, I need another bite of a donut. Let's see what you guys are doing there. You're not doing anything. You're not even talking. Oh, okay. Good. The statue beat me. Dasher from the past wasn't very considerate. I made two versions of lighting, which variation looks better. Also not sure about how detailed the foreground should be. Yeah, this one is a hard one. So I like this one better. It's a little bit flat, but we can fix it. All right. So first of all, think about your positioning of your focal points. Number one thing to think about is the relationship between the panda and the statue. I think they're a little bit too far apart. And there's this rule that if we have a focal point connecting to another one, I know that you're connecting it with a spirit thing and everything else, but if it's all about the panda, what we can do in this painting is actually, you know, let's just hide this for a moment. Let's hide this for a moment and make it very, you know, something like this. And then what we're also gonna do is we're gonna let me copy paste this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna lift the composition up a little bit more, because you need a little bit of a ground plane in here, and then you can populate it with, you know, with some bounce and fill light in the shadows. If you want something like this, you can figure out, I'm pretty sure, what the ground is going to look like. And then I like that you have very dark spots for some things. And then I think it's okay if her hands are going to be also, let's just make the statue just slightly, you know, shorter. Something like this, right? Looks good, I think. And then what we can do is we can, I like that you have the waterfall, so I would do the waterfall a little bit lower. Something like this, probably. And I would make the trickle of the water just a little bit, you know, smaller, so it's something like this. And then I would also probably have a leading line, something like that. so we can go in depth into the painting, and then it's going to be going a little bit into the shadows. And then we have the awesome thingamajig that is going here. Right, I'm not sure what exactly is happening with the water, so we'll have some sparkles in here, and it's gonna be awesome. And then let's make sure that this is hit by the light, and this is hit by the light, and it's gonna be nice if everything is gonna be underlit, like something like this, because you need to have your dominant light in your composition. Right, something. I know this looks crude, but hopefully you understand what am I going for. Something like this. You still can have this super awesome blue light coming from the top as fill light. I really like that. Don't lose that. And there's also a lot of green bounce light on her, which is also super cool and super awesome. But another thing is you have a glowing object, so that means let's just make the background a little bit darker, and then whatever space we have for it, we can then do a gradient to make the panda pop. Another thing is, like, make sure that you're describing the forms of everything, and then over here you're gonna have super awesome and epic grass thingies. And at the same time, those grass thingies gonna have subsurface scattering, right? Because the light is gonna be shining through them. Another thing that you can do is, because you have a lot of red, or I mean you have a lot of green, you can add a little bit of, you know, red highlights here in there to kind of show some flowers and also attract the eye towards the, you know, the correct what you call it, correct areas. Yeah, something like this, very ethereal, very nice, very cool. Yeah, and then maybe a little bit of something in here to show that the water is also glowing. And then I will still do a little bit of, you know, light coming through little parts in pieces of the environment through just, you know, just showing those little things, you know. Yeah, and also I would maybe, you know, I would fill this place up with something, so maybe it's not so empty. Like, for example, you can have a giant leaf in here, for example, covering this guy, maybe, you know, something like this. So we have more depth, more interesting things, and then the leaf itself could be, you know, slightly lit up by whatever this thing is. Yeah, so let's just compare it. Tunk. Yeah, it's more moody, more atmospherical, right? And of course you have to add a little bit more contrast to all of it, and maybe do something like this. And, you know, for sometimes for things like that, I would just, you know, just for some reason rain really would match this painting, so just, you know, I will just do, you know, something like this maybe. And he's not covered by it because he has like a little natural umbrella. Yeah, sorry, this is gonna be super crude. But maybe something like this, you know, just for more mood and atmosphere. I still maybe would make it a little bit brighter. And if we made it a little bit brighter, we can also do it a little bit darker in the background for the main character, so she reads as dark against light, or light against dark, I guess. Yeah, and also make sure, like here I over detailed it a little bit. Like the panda is pretty detailed itself, so make sure that near the focal point here, only he is the main, you know, super he's the most detailed thing. And also just for the highlights, so we can know where we're looking, maybe just, I don't know, maybe add like a lily or something in here, so we can have this kind of interesting you know, focal point in there that also is something less of a green and more some, or maybe not, I don't know. Let's just compare. Oh, you already have a lily. Yeah, maybe make a lily red in there, and then from a red lily you have, you know, the water coming down. Yeah, just don't make it too saturated, because then it's just gonna be too distracting. Yeah, and then also, like, this is a very beautiful lady, so maybe let's just add a little bit of, you know, kind of awesome, cool flowers onto her, so it's more magical and cool. Yeah, something like that, right? So look here and here. Hopefully you see that it's a little bit better. Yeah, and maybe I would move the panda a little bit closer to her, like this, something, maybe, I don't know. And then added more depth in here with the plants that you had, you know, as leading lines. Or maybe let's get the panda back. Yeah. Yeah, I made the light a little bit too noisy, but hopefully this helps. Okay. All right. Did a new keyframe and color key. The description would be Cody encounters a horrific dream where an unseen presence presents him with a choice that will save his life for a price. To challenge yourself to draw something more subdued in color, but even when exploring the color just seemed to make this scene too friendly. I like the blue, but just pretty and doesn't fit in the grayness of the scene. The green nearly works, but in the end I just let it gray with just hint of warm from the bottom to the other warm colors together. The rough layout has a filter on it, or else it gets cut by the almighty Discord bot for scandalous naked arms. Seriously? You got flagged for this? That is crazy. Yeah, I like, one thing I would say that you can you know, push some of those contrasts even further into composition. What is it? Oh, yeah, something like this maybe, so you don't distract from your focal points, just in the areas that you don't need that extra, because you have a lot of things going on. So just so the focal points are just around the face, and then pointing finger. I really like the desaturated gray. Let's look at the other variations that you had. Yeah, I don't like blue, I don't like green. I think what you did is perfect. I'm not sure if this is rain or just texture on top. Yeah, I would just, you know, yeah, it's pretty good, honestly. I would not change another thing. You have pretty good balance of detail. Yeah, so it's a little, let's just turn it to black and white. That's a little note just to make your, you know, focal point a little bit clearer. But other than that, I don't think there's anything else to change with it. Composition is pretty nice, leading lines are pretty nice. You dealt pretty well with detail. I would just maybe, this is gonna be my 2 cents, is especially in the comic book style. I'm just gonna show you 2 examples. So we have a lot of detail where he or she, I'm not sure who this is, probably a dude. But what I would do, just look at 2 examples. Let's have, you know, what other lines here looked. So let's look at, you know, let's look at this in terms of detail. All right. And then let's look at this in terms of detail. So sometimes, and then for the rest, well, on the other hand, yeah, we have this super naked and undetailed thing whatsoever. But one thing to keep in mind, where you have the most detail and most line work and the most texture, so when you have all that, blah, 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 it's nice to have a little bit of a, you know, of a, line work difference that, like, instead of like 5 lines, you have like 3 or 4, for example, just to simplify it. So then the detail that is over here, I actually like it when it looks a little bit more simpler. So then only the focal point has the most detail. So here you have like 15 lines. Try to, just do 5, for example, to make sure that this is the most detailed part of the painting. So it's not so, as you can see, it's a little bit better, not too much. I'm basically pulling this out of my bum, just to make this feedback valuable for you. But for a comic book artist, this is very crucial skill as to where do you distribute the amount of lines, right? Because closer the lines are to each other, just more noise it creates, right? Unless you're gonna just maybe, make the value of those lines and paint into those lines and make them less contrasty. So that's another way. You can either make them less contrasty to have more contrast in the character, or you can do a more simplified version with a fewer lines and it can be actually lighter. Yeah, but it's just my 2 cents. All right. Yeah, the Discord didn't like the, oh yeah, Corvid arms. I put those lines on a different layer, so if maybe making the lines not black would create less noise. Yeah, if you create them grayer, less contrasty. But honestly, if you leave it alone, it's fine. You don't have to do it. It's a micro thing. It's just gonna make it so slightly a little bit better readable. Composition is fine, leading lines are fine. So, and then you have those very contrasty things over here. There's maybe one thing that, the silhouette kind of gets a little bit noisy, where his face is. Yeah, with things here. So I'm not sure if you can join them somehow or make him to one shape with 2 fingers. So for example, the facial expression is basically clearer, right? And there's nothing intervening with him. I think this looks a little bit better than this because it's just sticking out of his chin, right? Maybe even like, simplifying this to this, because less holes, less everything. So see this and this. I think, again, it's your decision, but those are my 2 cents. Yeah. Comic books are really pretty noisy in general, but I want to be big, strong artists with good composition. Yeah, I'm not saying you did anything wrong. Honestly, if you keep everything, this is my taste on things, right? So this is how I would do it, and you do you. Yeah. But overall, very nice. Let's see what else. Okay. Yeah. It worked great in the whole composition thing. Alright, hey, Julie. Alright, let's see. I have one question, Julie. Are they like on the beach and the shore is to the right? Or what? I'm just curious. Is the shore... No problem, Heiko. Is the shore pretty close? Okay. So like how close they are actually, like, I think I already did that, but are we gonna see a little bit of a local color of the sand underneath it, like close, or what? Just curious. White caps can be like 20 feet away from the shore. Okay. So my main concern about this keyframe is that you have a lot of unused space here, and here you're like cramming this wave in. So if I would do it, I would probably like move those guys somewhere here, so they are a little bit at the top of the composition. And then everything over here, I would just simplify it a little bit more. And then I would have done everything super minimally. I know you've been working on those waves for a while, and I'm sorry that I'm doing this to you. But yeah, it has to be like something like this probably. Yeah, and maybe a little bit more of those blues that you have here, because it's a pretty big transition right away. Yeah, something like this maybe. Yeah, and then just overall, let's see if I messed it up or not, but just keep in mind the, you know, because water is so hard, so that's why I can't even paint over this, because I need to figure out a lot of reference. So make sure like that your plane of your waves have you know, one thing, because right now what is actually happening is technically your horizon line is actually somewhere here just by the position of your characters. And technically, if they would be if we would just do a skyline over here, the composition already starts. I would say it's not better, but you know what I'm saying. It's basically there now in the right plane of existence, I guess. Yeah, and then you can have maybe some clouds brewing in the background, foreshadowing what's gonna happen. Yeah, because like if we would imagine them as squares, right? So this is a plane, right? And we just put them like this, right? Like, well, the horizon will be, yeah, it's not exactly, but you know what I'm saying. And now if we just remove this and remove this, and he's kind of like, if we would imagine him laying around like this with his arms behind his back, basically this is the water level, and he's basically like turned and he's in the gravity. Yeah, so there's a little bit of that in there. And then if you really want to, you can, I don't know, maybe instead of clouds, you can make, you know, a shore in there. I know that the temptation, that's why, like, and sometimes I need 3D to do some things. It's just, yeah, like, see, like, this makes much more sense now in the overall composition. I know that I changed the mood of it like 180 degrees, so you can just find some reference, but now it does make sense, right? And then you can just have a little bit of like water ripples in the background, and now the composition is gonna work. Yeah. All right, with this thing, I really like it. It's really cool. There's one thing that I need to keep in mind is control your saturation. So when there's too much saturation, if everything is saturated, nothing is saturated. Come on, can I please copy paste this in here? No, can't? Oh no, I can. Okay, cool. So like it's an easy fix, you know, just saturate some things like this, and this already looks pretty awesome in my opinion. And then you can just add a little bit of saturation where he gets hit by a few things here and there, right? And then you just keep everything that is needed the most saturated. Yeah, and another thing is, you know, just have a little bit more of probably scattered, just to scatter it around a little bit, so it's not like sometimes you can lie and maybe it's the other light is more in depth, because when it's so contrasty with that light in there, I would even lie and do something like this. It would make no sense as a gradient. Just have his arm and then everything else to be the most contrasty thing. Oh, maybe the way you did it. Yeah. And then, yeah, now what we can do is we can erase some things and add more saturation, those blues here and there when we need to. Yeah, and then maybe, I know that you are very tempted to do that a lot of the times. You know, remove some of the contrast. Then make just a little bit brighter, because you have, I'm not sure if my screen just doesn't go this dark on some of the things. But control your blacks and everything else. I know that is a very dramatic moment. Maybe I made it a little bit too desaturated. So something like this. But now not everything is saturated, and you have the room. Like, again, saturation only looks good next to desaturated things. Yeah, another thing is your focal points. Those are really, really cool, but I would even, you know, I would make the light even more volumetric in light. Or underwater, so some things are pushed into the background even more, right? Something like this even, and then see if we're just gonna have a little bit more of volumetric light in there, you just will have more value range to show the depth and everything else. Yeah. What else do I want to say about this? Honestly, the thing is, there's almost nothing going on here unless you do more bounce light on it, you define some forms. So I even say, you know, maybe, well, we do want to show the scale of the painting. So maybe what we can do is, we can just do maybe this, because there's so much unused space underneath this whole painting, and I feel just, you know, it just needs a little bit of a breather. Maybe do something like this. Yeah, because we're not using that space on the right anyways, and now we have the value range to show those very dark things in here and here. If we really want to have extra depth. I have no idea how this fish looks, so I'm just creating random objects, but you know what I'm saying, right? If we just compare this to this, it just has more depth to it, and then we're controlling the saturation and everything else. Yeah. There's a mask on the right that you can't see. Well, the thing is, if I can't see it right away, you should still see it a little bit. If this was a keyframe in the movie, no one would have noticed it. So if it's an illustration or a keyframe, just make sure that, you know, if there's a mask in there, it's gonna be semi-visible, at least a little bit. But yeah, just control your saturation. Maybe get rid of the empty space on the right, something like this. And you need to figure out a way maybe to, because this thing looks like a log almost. I know it's a mask and it's really hard because of the design, but I know that your masks are a little bit curved, right? So maybe there's a way where you can show this curve by doing like a, you know, a shape like this maybe, and then, you know, still gonna be a silhouette, but what you can do is you can fill in this silhouette like this with black, right? And like, and maybe I'll just hit it with a light, just a little bit, so it has a little bit of depth to it. And another thing that you can, I'm not sure if you did it, so if it's like really forward, like right here, or it was something like this, or like that maybe, you know, you can do like a cool line here for depth. What you can do is you can use blur on your, you know, in your focal point, and really kind of make it out of focus and mysterious, but it still will have shape to it. and it's still gonna be mysterious and awesome. So yeah, you can use blur for your benefit a lot of the time. So I can even do like something like this, and also blur it out for extra depth. Maybe I'll just make it a little bit brighter. Yeah, so if we look at this, just where is it? Yeah, so doink. Yeah. See, just blur is a camera move that see. I think it looks better than this. I think. Oh, I see. Yeah, I see. The thing is, it's so dark that you can't really see what's going on. So you need to. Again, this is your problem. Sometimes you make things too contrasty. Just get that slider up, and everything should be nice. Yeah. You can make a screenshot of this or just rewatch the thing. And then the last one. Yeah, this one's really cool. I like it. I like the bubbles going in, that it sucks them in. Let's just see if we can, push it even further. Yeah, my main concern will be the same thing, is when everything is too saturated, nothing is saturated, right? So what I do sometimes is just, I just put something on top on a low opacity on a normal layer, and then I start erasing to bring back the saturation and the contrast in the areas that I want the most for the viewer to look at, right? So there's like this cool mask, let's just reveal it a little bit. There's another mask here, and there's like teeth behind, but they're pretty, they're pretty in the shadow, so maybe this area can have a little bit more of that. Maybe he's gonna have a little bit more of a subsurface in there, and then yeah, something like this. Maybe we'll just, maybe we'll keep the whole guy like this. Yeah, because right now there's just too much stuff. I even tempted to just, do some kind of a, just covering it all up just a little bit. I have no idea what I'm doing in terms of like, is it like the design or shape of it? I just know it needs to be toned down just a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, or even, let's just do the same thing. Just contrast a little bit lower, then a little bit darker, and then we're just gonna reveal the areas that are most important, which are here, right? And I would even, I would just do scary underlighting for the masks. What you can also do, you can introduce maybe red to all of that. That they're lit up by something. I have no idea what they're lit up by. Maybe they just change their color themselves. But then if we're gonna have that, and maybe a little bit even of, some red underneath the creature itself, maybe it's all starts shining like this. What we can do is, it's gonna be, now all of a sudden becomes a more dangerous place, and now you can actually have a little bit of that red underneath the arm, underneath the guy, maybe some of his face even. So this moment is even more intense, and then there's going to be some under lighting even under, the teeth and everything else. So we can just push this moment that is very terrifying into like even more terrifying things. Yeah, so this is very intense now. But yeah, hopefully that helps. It's a very complicated painting like this, and the thing is, if I will need like probably like 4 to 5 hours to figure everything out. All right. my brother is sending me Hearthstone replays and screenshots. At least I'm in the little adjustments. Yeah. It's adjusting here and there. You're pretty close to the finish line. You're very, very close. All right. This line scenario is too hard for me. It's a nighttime, and light comes from those yellow towers, and it should be like a fast and bright flashlight, probably like Valhalla will be much stronger. I tried the other variation, but it looks too dark. So I choose this one. In the next scene, statues will fall somewhere in the foreground, and people will lit the lights on their houses. Something strange will happen. That's why so much empty space on the foreground. Okay. So, first of all, nice attempt. Good job. But secondly, if we just look at any reference, like, you know, like a night Swedish town. Nighttime Swedish town village, for example. Let's look if we can find some good reference. But like, even like, for example, something like this, or something like this, which is the nighttime. The thing we have to understand that when it's the nighttime, our light source is the moon, right? We're gonna steal the moon, right? So right now, you don't have everything in the right context, right? The right context is going to be something like, well, something like this. This is the default context without the moon, without anything shiny, to be honest. And you know what? Let's make it a little bit brighter, or just put it on a multiply. A multiply is too dark. Yeah, that's why I like just a layer with low opacity on it. Okay, so now we have the context, and now I need to pee. I'll be right back. Right, I'm back. Did you guys hear my peeing sound? Oh, I'm sorry. I will pretend that I'm not embarrassed. What? What is natural is not disgusting. Yeah, guys, I was squeezing all that water out of me as fast as possible. Luba, the rule of storytelling is this: if you have an embarrassing moment, you have to crank it up to a 500%. So people think that you're either stupid or retarded and let you go. Oh, come on, guys. You hear peeing sounds all the time. What's the funniest thing is you heard peeing sounds to nice music. I'm sorry. All right. The word that you're all searching for is, anyway, okay. So, let's get some, lasso tooling in. So first thing is your skybox. I think you got your skybox pretty well. Sorry, I gotta do it crudely, but again, in the beginning of the camp, I said I will be only feedbacking 5 people at the beginning of the session. I'm feedbacking all of you guys, so it takes time. All right. I hope none of the AAA companies will listen to this feedback session and be like, oh, Misha is extremely unprofessional. Alright, so I have the CT, right? Itself. There's, I guess those towers are glowing. I'm not sure if those towers are glowing because they are themselves a light source or they have an underglow, right? So I'm just gonna do something to them that they glow and we'll see what I'm gonna do to them, but oh crap. Alright. Man, usually when I pee you guys don't hear it. It's maybe my my anti-disgusting sound system is not working at the moment. Okay, so for example, if those are kind of like, if those buildings are underlit, right? Maybe it's gonna be something like this. It's gonna be done crudely again. There's probably gonna be more local colors in them and everything else, maybe, right? But they're glowing now, right? So now we need to pay attention to those guys. So if there's the moon shining, right? If they are lit up by the moon, then we have to light it up by the moon. So, for example, here we're gonna have more of this. Maybe not so bright. Maybe we're gonna have a little bit of that here, here, and here. Then the back of this thing is gonna be totally in shadow because there's nothing else shining onto it. Alright, so it's gonna be something like this, probably. Right, then if we're gonna have this house is probably gonna be like something like, you know, where is it? This house is gonna be something like, you know, this even, just very dark in the foreground because there's nothing shining onto it. And then also we need depth. Same thing here. It's gonna be much darker. Again, like reference is king, man. I can't stress that enough. If you story is king, reference is king. If you're not gonna have reference, pretty sure you didn't have reference for all of this, because there's just no way. And then we're gonna have here. I'm gonna have the same thing here, here. Right, another thing is that even in the night sky, what we're gonna have is we'll need to have depth. So maybe let's just, you know, insert some atmosphere into all of this. So it's actually a night sky, and then maybe we'll just do something like this. Those things needs to be a little bit brighter. Something like that, right? And now we have enough of value range to, you know, push everything even farther. And I sadly again need, okay, how about this? I copy this, go back. Now I have the thingy again, push it like this. All right, cool. So now what we can do is we can, you know, work with our silhouettes even more. Right, so now the moon's actually, you know, shining on the guy, and then maybe those trees have more of this on them, and they're gonna be casting shadow on this house. Yeah, same thing here, same thing here, and then those things gonna be a little bit brighter, but less contrasty. Let's just have this. Just have everything on one multiple layer, something like this. Yeah. And then we have the super cool statues here. And if it's water, and they're like, the water itself is gonna be lit up by a few things here and there. And then if we're gonna have a little bit of lights going to the atmosphere, this thing is called, what is it called? It's called light pollution. It's when the light is coming into the atmosphere and lights up, you know, the environment around. everything. Something like this, right? But again, this looks a little bit still weird, so maybe there's gonna be a little bit of, you know, light coming through here. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there's gonna be a little bit more atmosphere over here of the lights coming through, and we can do something like that. It's gonna be very, very, very subtle, right? But I think we still need the moon, and I think the moon should be not shining from the same direction as this thing, but maybe it's gonna be shining from the top, and it's shining from the top. It's gonna reveal, you know, top planes of everything. So if those roofs are kind of like reddish, if the moon is going to be shining on them, they're going to become a little bit more purplish, right, when the moon is coming onto them. If those things are green, you know, when they're going to be hit by the moonlight, they're gonna have like dark blue local colors on top of them, etc, etc, etc. I wish I had more time, but hopefully you understand what I'm going with this. Yeah, and then if this is gonna be like lit up by the moon, it's gonna be dark blue colors over here later on, and then this thing is gonna be something like this maybe, right? And if there's like blue, you know, there's like white flowers, maybe the white flowers are gonna be something like that. Okay, let's compare our time of day to what we had in the beginning and what we have now, right? I think it looks better because first of all we got the context right, and then we have our accent colors, and then I'm not sure if they are underlit, so I just did underlighting under them. Something like this maybe, right? Yeah, sorry it's a little bit crude, but like, see the difference between this and that? This is actually lit by a context, by an actual moonlight, and yours is lit, well, by nothing, right? Yeah, like right now, unless you're doing for a super stylized comic book style, but this doesn't look like a night scene. And see, what I did is I pulled up a reference, and I look like, okay, so the sky is like this, everything is a silhouette, because nothing is hitting. If nothing is hitting our objects, they become super dark and they become silhouettes, right? So always keep that in mind. Hopefully this is helpful. We can do a screenshot later on if you want. Yeah. But good job for the attempt. Failing is good. Failing in the right way. And this is a hard painting. I really like the layout. I think it's cool. Alright, part 1. So I guess those are the things. Okay, you made them taller. Thank you for doing that. I'm not sure if this is just... is that the moon? Or it's a brush stroke that you forgot to delete? Cool, I like it. I like it. You know, just one thing, maybe, you know, add a it probably was just a brush stroke, I think, that kept it in there, so I just deleted. I would just do a little bit of more volumetric, so like if there's like there's fog in there, I'll just do little scribbles like this here and there. And also another thing is, like, those guys are pretty far away from their parents, so to separate them more, just, you know, just push them farther away a little bit so they're on a different plane, right? Because here now, like the arm of the mom is a little bit, you know, there's not enough contrast. And now everything's okay. Another thing is that it's a little bit too empty in here, so I just, you know, I would just add like a sail maybe that is half open or something like that. So we have a nice kind of like line going in, and everything is cool. Yeah, play around with it. Another thing, like the head of the of the Drakkar. I think it more looks like a pterodactyl. So I would just, I'll just make a regular, Drakkar head type of a deal. Maybe not so high up, but overall very nice. The time of day study was kind of good. For example, here there's too much saturation. Make sure you have really good reference for the skybox. It's really not a good idea to keep the sun like in this right corner. So keep it either here or off screen completely. If it's just barely visible, like what's the point? Yeah, and I think if you wanted to go for more of a sunset color, what happens with sunsets usually, if Discord will let me freaking do it, with sunset colors, you'll start getting a lot of, I guess, purples in it, in sunset colors. And then on top of all of that, you're gonna have a gradient going from the almost entire sky, honestly, something like this, right? And if you just compare this to this already looks more sunsetty, right? And the only thing that you'll need to do is have highlights, maybe around where sun is setting, something like this. And then on the characters themselves to pop them out. But yeah, again, reference is king. All right, cool. This is a shot that is not very interesting, right? It's a little bit too empty. I would just go into and watch Sea Beasts. Sea Beast is the reference. Like, why have so much open space if you can just do, if you can do a shot like this, even, maybe, right? You can do the same thing without having so much open space in there, right? Another thing is, I think your sail is crooked, so if this was a square, right? Something like this, right? And I'm gonna just use it as a reference, right? The sail is gonna be standing like this, and then if we just do it as a square, it's gonna be something like, something like this. Right, this is more in the perspective of a thingamajig. Sail. Are you talking about that, Marco? Imagine Dragons? I hope we're not gonna get copy striked by YouTube by just me singing it. Okay, this is better. One thing in here that I'm telling you that this needs to this needs to be pushed more into the distance. And then on another side, guys, you have to understand, if you're shooting into the light, because I understand that the sun is behind this island, right? First of all, the island is going to be more into the distance, and I think I'll just do something like this. And then it's just going to be, and then secondly, it's going to be casting shadows even on water, if it's going to be on water. And then the island itself is basically going to become a silhouette, kind of almost like this if you are shining on it from the behind. I mean, another thing is that I would just, yeah, what would I do here? This one is a toughie. I would still push it into the distance as much as possible, because her finger is creating a tangent, and so you have two things really close to each other, which doesn't look good usually. Yeah, and then when things become in the shadow, so for example here, And well, they become less saturated, they become colder because, well, they're in the shadow. And then same thing here on the other side of the thing. Then maybe add a little bit of that here. Yeah, but overall very good. Okay, all right, let's see, Graham, what you got? Show me what you got. Okay, cool. I like it. Very nice. See how we can make it better. I think it's the same feedback as from the last time. This guy gets lost as a silhouette, the background. Absolutely the same feedback as I gave you last time. Just push it away. So this guy is as readable as possible. Clear read is king. See the difference? Yeah, doink, doink. Reads much better, right? Another thing is that this guy gets lost a little bit with the door, so I would just lie about the lighting just a little bit. Just create this thing here and maybe this thing here, so his head is more visible. And maybe on the other side we can have a little bit of bounce like this, and maybe extend his hair just a little bit. And then the door itself can be hit by the lighting, I think, a little bit more intense in general, so the light is really shining and it's really, really nice. Yeah, and then like sometimes what I do just to, you know, mix and match the values, because the thing is sometimes you have a lot of value ranges in one painting. So what you need to do is, like here we can add a little bit of bounce light, for example, on the door if we really want to. But what it does when I am just going over a thing with a low opacity brush is I'm creating a layer on top of everything, almost kind of like this, and I am basically bringing all the values together. Like sometimes I would even do something like this and then bring the contrast back into the painting. Usually I'm gonna do that, yeah. Yeah, then we can just erase for contrast and the areas that we really need to. But yeah, that'll be my only feedback. Overall, very nice. All right, Hurt Mania. Okay, cool, nice. I like it. Let's see how we can make it better. I think one thing that for me that is lacking in here is maybe a little bit of those kind of, you know, let's see if I can do this. Maybe I'm mistaken. A little bit of those, a little bit of warm values, or maybe super saturated blues in it, because we need to break up the very boring white space. I would even consider to have a kind of like a cloud shadow almost type of a deal over everything. Like, you know, and on a bright day you might have something like this, you know, just to break up the you know, the super bright white light or white value that you have over there. Or you need to add a little bit of color variety in it, but something has to be done because this is too just into my eyes. Yeah, colors are pretty great here. I like it. Yeah, I think that'll be it. I think it's pretty nice and pretty strong frame. Maybe because the thing is, if you have such a, you know, such powerful light, you can actually have your ground. And this is just me trying things out. Let's see if it will work. I don't think it works. See what else can we do with this one to be nitpicky. Another thing that I will do is you're great at saturation, but I would also have more love for neutral colors and halftones and shadows. So your saturation really plays out. Like for example, see, I just added a little bit of halftones through the entire thing, and then I'm just adding saturation in the areas of interest, and I think it's already becoming just a little bit better. I did it pretty crudely, but I know you're a strong artist, you understand what I'm talking about. Because for me, I think you sometimes have too much saturation going on. It's a subtle thing, but yeah, that'll be my 5 cents. I like it. I like it a lot. Maybe, you know, add birds for scale somewhere, because it looks a little bit empty to me. Maybe, like, you know, one bird here, just to populate the shot just a little bit. So see if you have this space for it, just a few here and there, just to bring it to life. You know, birds would love this boat, you know, to nest in it, poop in it. It would be pretty awesome. All right. Hell yeah, let's just replicate everything in 3D. I will finish. I'm not sure, did you paint this? No, this is 3D now. This is pretty cool. All right, there's a whole story why wrong file sync travel stress, lack of internet. The sound was in my eye, my tummy hurted, everything else. But even if it's a, you know, even if it's a 3D render, I'm not sure if you're gonna be doing anything on top of it. But the problem with default renders that, like for example, look at this and look at this, it crushes the shadow a lot, so you need to lift them up just a little bit. And I would also, I know it would be hard for you to do, but what you can do is, if you want for the skybox, if you're just gonna composite this, what you can do is you can just have that's what I do in 3D sometimes when I was doing 3D. I would just do a gradient sprite, and I would just put it in between your foreground and like this in the 3D itself. Just a 2D, like just a 2D sprite with a gradient onto it, because it will be too hard to you know, tweak around and actually paint into the skybox. So what you can do is to actually separate your values. Even for here, you can just, you know, make a 2D sprite, export it in there, and just stretch it to push the depth of your image a little bit. Maybe I overdone it just a little bit, but and what else? What else in this thing? I like it, man. I really do like it. You know, I'm not sure if it's possible to do maybe a few grass blades here and there, but maybe you can just, you know, paint it in. But I like it. I like the motion blur and all of this. I like the camera. I like how you set up. You even made that one of the hay bales is it's pretty awesome. The only thing with 3D that some things may look stiff, like the guy, you know, like maybe work on the gesture of his hand so it's not so just, you know, straight. I'm not sure if you had the rigged version of this guy, but maybe having him like half motion to show even more life. Even you kind of did it right here. It already works. This is just a nitpicking, man. I think it's a nice looking image. Really cool. Yeah, it's really cool. It's a really good. You basically are working as a lighting department for yourself. This is a really nice light bulb that you put in, and I like that you put in I'm not sure if you actually had a skybox, kind of like diffuser, getting some blue light into the shadows. But as you can see here, we have all the light bulbs are set up pretty well. Like I gotta tell you this: if you're gonna take all of my theory and then put it in your 3D skills, you can technically go learn, like, was it Nuke? I don't remember what they do. I don't remember what they do all the lighting, but you can technically become part of the lighting department with your new skills. Yeah, very nice, very cool, dude. I don't see that it's bad. Just lift up the shadows just a little bit, and it's super cool and awesome. I love it. It's really good, Shamanic. Do not be sad. It's a good piece of art. Only one frame is hard for me because this is my first experience drawing keyframes. However, I will make other frames on the next week. Okay, cool. Let's see. I really need to speed up. Okay. So with this one, same thing. Just like we did in our first pass, right? Where is it? Right here. No. Right here. Your local colors are interesting, but at the same time needs more reference. I did something like this actually a long time ago. Let me go to my ArtStation and pull it up. Almost exactly the same color scheme and carnival kind of looking thingamajig. Let's just find it. Okay, here you go. Let's see if I can open it. First I need to download it. So instead of just doing that, I'm just going to show this. So this was a color script that I did really long time ago. And even though the carrot has like an orange color scheme, and this was a pretty rough one. And I think I did everything like 5 days, I think. Even did some photo bashing. But it's pretty similar to what you have here, right? So maybe just look at this. I actually have the same tent looking thing and same purples. The first thing that you need to figure out is your contrast, right? So if the CD is shining in the background, you know, make sure that, you know, we see everything that we need, or completely submerge it into darkness. Turn this into black and white. Oh man, okay, I'll paint over. So if we turn it into black and white, right, it works actually pretty nice in black and white. Maybe that's what you had in the beginning, but the girl gets lost just a little bit with the back things. And also when you are making everything shine, you with just I'm not sure if you did with an overlay layer, just in the grain is good, but this creates mud. It needs to be, you know, it has to be more clear. If you really want them shine, you know, they'll completely go into actually white things if they're like some kind of you know, carnival Christmas lights or something like that, right? And then in the background, this girl is light against dark. So if she's light against dark, then maybe you can do something like this. But on the other hand, you are on the right track, just needs to be pushed a little bit more. So the grass will be lit up by this, right? Those are pretty powerful lights that are going to be lighting everything over here and over here and over there. And then if she's light against dark, then just either embrace it, you know, and then just cover everything behind them dark. So now she's kind of like hello hello. But if she is, you know, if you're gonna have the crowd behind, and maybe they're standing in a line into the tent, maybe you know, put some light onto them too. But one thing that you have to understand, you need to like add like one building behind her, completely like this. So she reads as good as possible. Yeah, I would just say find reference. Don't use multiply like here, like you did here for shadows, and then simplify everything into simple shapes. So like her head is a ball, right? So her head is a ball. So just draw a ball, and then there's warm light on the left, you know, and then have that, and you have that pretty well actually. And then if there's lights over here, that means she's gonna have a little bit of a rim on this side, right? And this already looks pretty good, you know. If like her sleeve over here is a little bean looking thing, right? And the light's coming from the left, you know, and then just do that. But if it's purple, that's a whole nother thing. If she has a purple dress, all right, then it means if the light is going to be coming at her, then it's going to be something like this, right? So just, you know, simplify the girl into the simplest shapes possible, and then with this simple technique, you can have a pretty nice looking girl. See, and now she reads much better, and you can have more of a rim light on the right. This is a very nice lighting setup. It almost looks like a color key to me, honestly. Just needs more practice. I think overall you're doing pretty well. Yeah, same thing with this girl. Like what's her local color, and just simplify to super simple color balls. Another thing that you have to remember, that when things are shining doesn't mean that you have to go overboard with everything. There's going to be subsurface scattering, there's going to be fall off, so don't overdo things even when things are shining. Yeah, but overall nice. Sorry, I kind of have to speed up the pace because we're going at a turtle speed, even though I'm trying to paint my best and super fast. Okay, new keyframes, cool. Add another keyframe where main character speaks with the ancient, have some big reveal about the world. We'll start adding the suggested fixes to first keyframe with heat wave. It is fun but tough. Oh, sorry. All right, let's see what you got. Cool, I see that you're implementing. This still needs some love, right? Because there still needs to be, you know, the windows shining here a little bit, and then, you know, maybe she'll have a little bit of a rim light from the thing. Just remember, just turn everything to black and white. See if it reads or not. This doesn't, they don't read very well yet, so you need to add other, probably have to add the light behind them for the windows. Here, I like it, that he's shining over here, but if this is also shining, you still need to add a little bit of that in there, and then maybe a little bit of rim light from that there. This is actually pretty cool, very nice. I don't have any feedback on this. I like it. I see that you implemented our color ball exercise into it. Yeah, and same feedback here. Just move this guy a little bit to the right, so we use the space more better. So he's standing over here, and the shadow is pointing to the guy right there, so it's an actual standoff. But overall, very nice, very nice. I see big improvement. You are improving. That is really good. All right, let's see. Nico, my man. So many color cranes, so far people you rock. Here's a Tri-Bangles first keyframe with a fresh composition. Let's see if you can spot the Easter egg. All right, the Easter egg. Is this the Easter egg that he finds in the, or this? All right, let's find the Easter egg. Okay, I think I got it. Let's see. All right, nothing. Grain is good. Okay, cool. Okay, I'm not sure what's happening there. Too low res for me to look at. Can't find the Easter egg. Oh, there's a little bug. I see it. Is that the thing that I'm gonna become a spooder? All right. So one thing that I want you to tell you is your relationship between your shapes. So usually when you have a lot of small shapes. So this is small, this is small, this is okay, right? So you need to have a little bit of variety of it. So if you have something in the foreground, you know, make it bigger, man. So it has more depth to it. So something like this. So you have variety. So now, and then another thing is like maybe either make him smaller or make him bigger. So I would probably make him just a little bit bigger. Something like this maybe. So we're closer to him. And also another thing, like I would probably add a few more trees behind him going to the distance, so it is a little bit more populated here and there. Another thing that I would also do is I would probably just make more of a, what you might call it, breathing space on the top. Something like this, maybe. We'll see. And this thing has to go here. Dunk, 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 dunk. Let's see if I made it worse. Yeah, it looks a little bit better. You know, you still have the bug over here. There's thing on the right there. Behind him. I would just make this building probably a little bit lower. Going something like this. So it's really in the distance type of a deal. So we go in there and everything points towards it. And then maybe just for funsies, just either add clouds or add like a mountain that is standing behind all of this for extra depth, you know. Then we're gonna have those little houses everywhere in there. Yeah, so either clouds or mountain and the clouds. You know, so the shot is just a little bit more populated. It's actually alive, you know. So yeah, if we would just compare it to this just feels a little bit empty. And I know this is an empty world, but you know, maybe do something like that. And another thing is that I probably would have made just the area where he is even more a little bit special. So has a little bit more of color variety here. Maybe even like, you know, maybe I make a big thing right here. So this way it's kind of cool because it adds more, you know, maybe threat. Literally, because this CT is framed and this thing's kind of like I'm coming for you type of a deal. And as I understand, those go into the water. Yeah, so it just needs a little bit more depth. I know this is a little bit crude, but I think you got the main idea. It just needs to be populated a little bit more. I'm not sure about this thing exactly, but yeah, hopefully that makes sense. And you know, don't be shy of, you know, more of a bounce light. I like bounce light. Just, you know, maybe something like this to have a little bit more saturation in it. Then what I also will do is, you know, don't forget that eye is very reflective of things. So if you really want to emphasize that he's looking at this thing, you know, maybe have him look at this thing and maybe have like a little bit of a highlight somewhere in there reflecting the sky itself. Yeah, but overall very nice, very nice, very cool. Oh, my neck. Glowing ghoulite. I do have to work on it. Will next feedback session be the last? No, we'll have 2 more feedback sessions. This one is keyframe 1. Next feedback session is going to be keyframe 2, and then the next feedback session after is going to be keyframe 3, and that'll be it. That'll be it. Right. Let's go. Okay, Sveta. Cool, awesome. I like it. I think I feedbacked some of it. Maybe try losing the line work in the face here. I know that the reason why you need line work here to show his face is because your values are a little bit off. They're too hot. So make sure that you are not carried by your line work. But honestly, this is pretty great. I love it. Maybe add some color differences, or well, overall it's good. Just, you know, make it lineless. Make sure. Look at Arcane, how they shackled it. Maybe your light is a little bit too intense here, even though here just it's a little bit too overexposed. So dial it down a little bit and lose the line work. But other than that, it's pretty great. All right, let's see. Cool. Here I first blah blah blah. Redo this keyframe because they suck, but I did not have time to finish 6 new ones. This is really hard. I'll keep working on them. Okay, let's see what you got, man. Okay, cool, man. Super solid layout, super solid illustrations. I mean, keyframes, nice silhouettes overall. One thing that, you know, this guy's hand is hanging. Maybe make it at an angle a little bit like this, because right now just going straight down, maybe a little bit like this with the curve. But overall, those are really great. I think you're gonna finish them. They're gonna be awesome. I don't have any feedback, honestly. The local colors are for the most part correct. You have the context all set up. The frames themselves are pretty nice. I would not reframe anything. I love it. Super cool. There's maybe one thing that maybe the light is a little bit too yellow, especially when it goes on the ground here. But other than that, it's pretty nice. All right, and for this we've got only 1 frame. Shame on me. It's okay, no shaming. Skip homework A due to surgery, so not trying to make everything worse here. Oh, sorry. I hope you have quick recovery. Okay. It's kind of funny. I looked at this painting, and at first I thought that this was like a creature roaring, and that was the saliva. He's like, rah! Okay, so you're really good at character designs, and you're really good at zooming in really far. So I gotta tell you, what is this shuttle is all about? Is it about the character? Is it about the environment, or the character in the environment? We're gonna tell you this, because you have tendency to, probably you do character designs mostly, because you have tendency of over detail stuff. I can see a lot of interesting details here. The character's too small. Like I have an urge to, you know, zoom in like this. And another thing is, like, it looks like you painted the character first and then you painted the environment around it. Like the character is not interacting with anything. Like is she you know, is she leaning down with her cape and her thingy, and then she looks at, you know, maybe tracks, for example. She's like, whoa, you know, I'm going after somebody. Oh, there's this thing here, yeah. I didn't even see this thing that she looks at it, right? I would really make a connection here and maybe put it over here, for example, right? And then have more things for depth. Let's see what else you got. See if I can see the whole painting, right? So she is looking. So she's looking at the thingamajig. Now that's the weird goat thingamajig. Now she's giving her this thing the mask, and now it's a giant thingamajig that is going to destroy everybody. Yeah, in this keyframe, make sure she's connected with the mask, because right now she's looking to the distance, like her eyes just go here somewhere, and you need to connect this to this. So either with lighting or with more composition. I would change her pose to something like this. She's like, oh, what the hell is that? You know, and then maybe crop the whole thing like up to here. Again, keyframes are there to, and I would lose the square format. I have no idea why you're using the square format. Keyframes are there to emphasize your super simple statement, what's going on in the frame. And you have to use your screen real estate or a real estate of your canvas to the best of ability. So yeah, I would just redo the pose and don't make it so over detailed. If you have so much detail, move the character closer. But farther away the character goes, like for example that keyframe that we just finished, I'm gonna show you as an example, right? Farther away we go as viewers, simpler the characters become. Like for example, these guys don't have any facial features, they only have a beard, right? This guy is also becoming super simple. And then as we go closer to the camera, we can have more detail, but farther away they go, less detail they have, and they're simplified into simple form, either light and shadow or a few local colors here and there, right? And then with yours, it's not simple enough, in my opinion. Yeah, so move camera closer and move the mask closer and change the pose to something more beneficial to your story, because she's right now she's like just standing and there's like a trash laying around farther away that we don't really see, right? It's either that or we need to change the lighting in this scene. So to change the lighting, we might do like, it's gonna be a dark forest, and then she's standing there, and then here's the mask, with the light pointing to it. But it's gonna be cheesy, right? So it's better if she just goes and finds it with a pose explaining it. But overall, I'm sorry you have to go through the surgery, but you did well. This is a very cool environment. Just too bad it's not serving the story. See, it doesn't matter how great of an environment you painted or how pretty it looks. It's about the story, right? Yeah. Right. Let's say Marco. Good job. I like it. This is very special and interesting. Right, Marco. I have only one feedback for you. It's I think you moved them from last time a bit closer, maybe to the right. Okay. Oh my god. So one thing that I would say that I like it. It's pretty cool. It's pretty detailed now. There's a little bit of too much of an empty space in between this and that. To the point that, like, I think I would move the entire party just a little bit here, like up to here maybe. Something like that. So they have the place to run somewhere, and at the same time we have a hook to our characters, or maybe space them out like this maybe. Why? Because the thing is, if we have this, I know this thing is pointing towards those guys, right? But for me it's too long of a distance, because the eye has to do a lot of catching up to. So I need a little in between. So I look at this, then I jump onto a next detail, and then jump to a next detail. And right now what my eye is doing is kind of like aha, and then empty space, and then people running, right? It doesn't connect. I know that sounds stupid, but this is just how it is. Oh man, we're out of our 2-hour playlist already. Yeah. So that's my only feedback, man. It's pretty good. It's pretty rendered. Hopefully you have those guys on a different layer, and I'll still make the. I'll probably still make the shadows a little bit longer. I think. Yeah, I think I'll just make the shadows a little bit longer. But other than that, pretty good. Yeah, if you want, you can just do maybe some falling snow going down into perspective to add a little bit more mood and cool rhythms. You might, why not? It might add a lot of things. So yeah, overall, I really like it. Just push on, man. Thank you for adding a little bit of color for where the focal points are. All right, ooh, this one's good. Hey Brian, what's up, dude? All right, let's see. Cool, very nice. Very, very nice. Zoo looking thing. Oh, there's little rabbits and there's a giraffe. Super cool silhouettes, very nice designs. I loved how you simplified the forms here, here, and here. There's only one thing that is missing for me. You have a very good underpainting, but I think the main focal points like this guy that is shady going to here, but like I feel that it's lacking just a little bit of contrast in it, just a little bit, and maybe just a little bit. Maybe because you did this, I'm not sure. This is a hard painting because maybe I just need a little bit of a more contrasty things somewhere in here. Because if you zoom pretty far away, I'm losing the fountain, sadly. And it would be really cool if I didn't. So maybe either add more volumetrics behind it. Like something like this, because it is kind of like the center point that everything is positioned at. So maybe just, you know, emphasize it a little bit more, and then you can also do like a little bit of, you know, something like this with the lighting, but it needs to be more clear, because right now if you zoom in it's pretty clear, but from far away I'm losing it a little bit. Another thing is that you have a lot of really cool desaturated moments, and I think the reason why it popped back in is because I had a little bit of more contrast to it. But another thing is that you have a lot of really cool desaturated neutral bases here, and I really like it. But I would just, you know, add just a little bit of saturation, especially like for example in the bounce light here, or maybe over here somewhere. I would just add little saturated highlights or accent colors onto those things, because it's really gonna help. Yeah, and another thing is I really like the highlight over here that you did, but I would just avoid having too flat of a surfaces somewhere. And if you have too flat of a surface, you know, you can always add either bounce light, or you can add more fill light, for example. See, like if I just gonna add it here, it's gonna make it less boring if I just have it over here. And it's also gonna bring more you know, because as I understand, those things are inside. Yeah, those things are inside. So the floor itself 100% is gonna give some bounce light on those things. And then the thing is, you have such a great desaturated neutral base that you can really, with just not too much stuff, make your objects shine and make it really good. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're gonna, if this is just, let's see if you said anything. This is my first game phrase so far. Okay. I'm not sure if you're gonna continue on it, but like for example, this elephant is lost a little bit, and like this king guy is lost a little bit. So I would really work on that, like all of those elements really nicely. I don't wanna, you know, push you in the direction that you don't want to be pushed, but it looks like every character needs either like a little bit of a wash behind them, or they need to have a little bit more detail within the silhouette. So they're just a little bit more contrasted. So we can go from the parrot. Another thing is like if the parrot is the main thing, maybe just move him a little bit here so the silhouette is just a little bit clearer over here, just looking inside. Because from far away, I'm not sure what I'm looking at, right? So it feels like this guy needs to be somewhere in here, right? So from far away, we can have a nice strong silhouette. Yeah. Another thing is like maybe like over here, maybe we can have like a, no, it's fine. Yeah, I think other than that, it's pretty cool and awesome. I like it. I like it a lot. Good job. Very nice. Very nice. Just, yeah, just need some work on it. You're just very slow. It's okay. It's okay. Slow but steady. Yeah, another thing, like you have a lot of fill light over here, so you have a lot of technically range of, you know, for example here, the giraffe's probably gonna have more of that light coming from this area. You have a solid base to start painting everything from, but then again, always turn it to black and white and see when I'm turning it to black and white, the giraffe gets lost, this gets lost, a lot of things gets lost. But this is a very solid composition and I love it. It looks really, really cool. Very nice. All right, Katya. Describes in their envy and characters and family relations between aliens came and his family died in 2 new frames after and now in progress. Hope will be ready next week. Okay. Awesome. This is finished. I have nothing to say. It's really good. Let's just admire it. Alright. Yeah, it's really cool. I like it. Really, really cool. One thing that this guy is looking somewhere there. I'm not sure where he's looking, so maybe he needs to be looking there. And she has to be looking at him too, I think. But other than that, super cool, super solid, very nice. Nothing to say. Sadly, only 1 frame. Critique harshly. Man, I don't even have any energy to critique harshly. I'm a little bit tired. Well, this is a big improvement from the last one, man. I like it. Let's see what I have. What I have for it. Just make sure your lighting is clear, right? So if it's coming from the top right, you know, have it come from the top right, then really emphasize it. So if it's coming from off screen, you know, something like this, you're gonna have very harsh, very cinematically cool rim lights from the back of the cave going this way, right? That's gonna be your rim light. But then you have this super cool kind of like I don't know if it's a fire pit or anything else, and then that's gonna be shining into your shadows as the main focal point, and then describing all of those things. So I would really emphasize on that. But one thing that you need to keep in mind, right, is like, for example, this gets lost. So always try to make sure that your focal point and the silhouette of it is as clear as possible, right? So a lot of the times you're like, okay, what's my value relationship? Am I gonna do, again, dark against light or light against dark? And then this one is a little bit tough because it's kind of both, right? But I'm just gonna, sorry that this is so roughly done, but you'll forgive me. Okay. Alright, then I'm gonna have like, right, so it's like, it's either gonna be this, right, for your value range, or it's gonna be, you know, or it's gonna be this as your main value thing, right? And then also another thing, just let's make sure that the shadows are not so crushed, right? So you need to figure out like what is your simple statement. I think your main focal point in this thing in particular is mostly him being lit up by a fiery pit underneath. So maybe we can have a little bit of a gradient. Yes, he's gonna be lit up from underneath like this. And of course, some of the areas he's gonna have like scales pop up. What it was? Do you think I was? My wife forgot that I was streaming. So what do you think? Was I just talking to myself as usual?
Yes, you always talk.
I always talk to myself. Like, see, guys, I am a little bit crazy. My wife's like, "Oh, you're streaming." Sorry, didn't recognize. So yeah, boys, I'm sorry I don't have enough energy, but again, colors a little bit muddy. Make sure that your lighting either comes from this, from here, or from here, and then make sure that you simplify everything into simple forms. So when the light hits it, you know what planes are reacting to the lighting. But yeah, I need to speed this up a little bit, because if I don't, we're gonna be here for another like a lot of times. We've already been at it for 2:16. I probably need more. Loose. Again.
What was that movie? Cartoon.
Oh.
Front Planet.
Mrs. Hawkins.
Mrs.
My juice.
There you go.
Yeah, Mrs. Hawkins. My juice. It's from Treasure Planet. This is me like every few hours. Calling for my wife. Luba, my juice. Где есть заряженная дудука? Alright, let's go. Valhalla! Okay, cool. I think I did paint over on that already. It looks much better. But I'm still, thank you. I still think of the same thing, which is this painting needs more space at the top, needs more depth, and then the creature needs to be more clear, because right now it doesn't look like it's opening its mouth. Yeah, but it's much better than it was, so good job. Yeah, this one is pretty epic. I'm just trying to figure out. The water is much better now. Alright. Let's see. See, guys, I want your diplomas to be awesome and epic. Can't just say no. Okay. Yeah, I would either make more space at the top, or I'll move the guy here, sour, like here, leaping off, because he's really close to the edge, and this is not good when you have this much space. And I think this is the same feedback I gave last time. So either you need to move the whole painting like this, right, like this, and then have more breathing space over here, so this doesn't look as cramped, right? This already looks better. You agree? Than this. Or you just need to remove the guy. Other than that, again, local colors of your boat. Silhouettes are great. Good job. Very nice. But don't forget about your local colors of your everything, right? And again, the painting that I did as a reference, you can use it as a reference. The one that I did for the art camp. This one. It's pretty good in terms of local colors and everything else, so do use it. But you're on the right track. Yeah. I wonder if 2 sessions of feedback wouldn't be more optimal for you, mate. It feels like you're getting exhausted after this. It's okay. I get recharged by next Saturday. Just you have to understand, it takes a lot of brain energy to come up with a solution to your paintings on the spot. It's not that I'm not used to it. I used to feedback for 5-7 hours straight. I used to do that for my color and light course. Yeah, the spirit is strong, and I want to help you out, guys. Come on, cannot leave you hanging. I feel I have followed the notes from last feedback session correctly, but there's a second take for my first keyframe along with a side-by-side comparison. Okay. This is much better. I'm gonna tell you, this is much better what you had. You have your local colors, you have your correct forms in the shadows. Everything looks pretty nice and cool. I love it. I like it. Very nice. Just not sure what's happening. So for example, if oh, they have some green light on them. Yeah, the green light doesn't look so good because the thing is, it's gonna be not like that. If it's green light onto them, shining like this, first of all, they get a little bit lost, and secondly, it probably would have looked something like something like this. Actually, probably it's not strong enough to have rim light. I don't see any green lights anywhere. And if you have, another thing is, like, if you have a light source somewhere, just make sure that you have it everywhere. So for example, the rim light, the green rim light doesn't look good because it's not logical. So if you're gonna have the light, you know, maybe you can have the light, let's say, going from over here. And also the cool thing that you can technically do is you can have a little bit of, you know, those really cool you know, leaf things like shining through, and it can be like in the shadow if you really want to do that. That could look cool. This kind of looks nice, right? But another thing is you still need to, they're talking to each other. So I'm not sure if they're just shit talking about this girl over here. It's like, oh, look at Mary, her dress is so blue. But maybe I would just add more highlights onto her here, and maybe over here, like they're really standing in some kind of like a foresty area type of a things, and then the green leaves on the top here and here can have a few things. And like, I think this painting is coming to life really fast. Yeah, I think it's good. And if you want to, you know, show some information within the silhouettes, you can always have, again, like for example, for some reason I see some kind of a bounce light on them, or some warm thing. So maybe you can just, you know, add some bounce warm light coming from somewhere, you know, but to reveal some of the information within the silhouette. Not only the silhouette themselves is really good, but you need to reveal some of that. So yeah, I think something like that hopefully helps. Yeah, and then maybe I'll just do a few more brushstrokes here to show that there's, you know, something beyond that. Not only this thing. Yeah. What kind of shit talk is that? That's my shit talk, Marco. I was trying to come up with something super offensive. I don't know. Alright, when I want to, I can shit talk. You should see me in Dota, man. I'm a pretty horrible person when I'm in Dota. Okay, cool. I like it. I guess this is a 2D style with painted background, just like regularly would be done in 2D animation. Yeah, I think this is finished. I don't have anything to say about this besides that, you know, let's admire it and appreciate it. Okay, yeah, very nice, very cool. The story's there. The crow is stealing the money. It's like what the hell? Go away. Maybe she'll give him some bread later on. I don't know. All right, let's look at this. Ooh, super nice. All right, extra points for bounce light. Yes, yellow bounce light. Very nice, very cool. I think it's either finished, or if you want to keep going, just add more contrasts here and there. But overall, this is a very nice image. I really like it. This is very nice, Sveta. Good job. Yeah, you guys are killing it, guys. You guys are killing it. I'm proud of you. Of course, I'm gonna take all credit for your improvements. It's like I'm gonna be like, yeah, without. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Right. Oh, hello, Aster. Right, cool, interesting. Let's see what I think about it. It's better from the last time, 100%. There's one thing that I don't really like, and that's that she's a little bit too close to the guy to the right, and the whole composition is a little bit skewed towards the right. So if I was you, I would probably just move the girl over here, just a little bit, you know. For more balance. Yeah, and you still have very harsh value ranges. I'm trying to figure out. You can see you're kind of doing the graphic style approach, and then you're doing the girl itself, and then the local colors of hers. I'm not sure if, like, I think her life is being sucked out of her or something like that. See if we can, you know, maybe make it a little bit more doable. So one thing that I can tell you is, of course, again, you know, lose some of the contrast. I feel like, well, it's a hard painting, man. Oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So first of all, remember when I talked about muddy value ranges? It's when you have it's when you have too much of everything everywhere, and when you have every single value in a painting. You have this, and you have this, and then you have this, and then you have darkest darks, and you have everything. So just as a rule of thumb, just try to come up. So if this is the composition, let's just figure it out with you right now. So this is the guy's hand. Right. This is the girl. And this is the other guy. Okay. And then let's create this as a layer. Twink, twink. Right? Okay. Okay. So, then the other thing that you have in there is the other hand of this guy. There's kind of over here, and then this guy's thing. So, when you're doing technically anything, absolutely anything, just make sure that your values read super simple from the start. So she has, you know, she has her skin here, and then you have this here, then this half here. So when we simplify everything into this is a pretty nice composition, I would say. right? Because the values are so clear. But when you are complicating everything with lighting, and we turn it into just black and white, you have a lot of super close values to each other. Like for example, if I just gonna fill this in, and then I'm gonna fill this in, and I'm gonna fill this in and this in, they're too close to each other. There's not enough of separation. So, and then the only thing that is carrying your painting at the moment is your line work. I'm pretty sure if you would show me this just in pure line work, it would look much, much better. So your task is to like, okay, what, like, is it gonna be something like this, right? And then when you are blocking in when you're gonna be blocking in your painting, just turn off the line work layer and just see if it works, right? What kind of a contrast range do you want? Do you want this to be, you know, super dark like this? So that means everything else is gonna go, maybe, you know, the girl itself might go lighter, right? Something like this. Or maybe just half of her is gonna go like this. Or maybe you're gonna have that gradient in the background, you know, just shining just like in the first version. But what you need to do is you need to really learn how to do what I'm doing right now, because your line work is flawless and amazing, and it's really nice. You're a really strong line work comic book maker. But when it comes to values, there's a drastic difference when you are painting in values. It's like you are completely two different arts. Like for example, I'm not sure why there's a spot here, and also there's a spot over here, and there's a spot of lighting here. Like, where's that coming from? Why is it not affecting here? Okay, you have a rim light here, but then you also have a rim light here, right? It's like you're getting a little bit of a lost. And then if you're gonna have something like this as your underpainting, then you can just take your line work layer, and sadly I don't think I can extract the lines from this. Oh, I can kind of do that. Cool, didn't know I can do that. I can. Right? So just look how pretty this looks already. Just by having clear value separations, right? And then what you can do is you can keep everything pretty simple, and then maybe, like, you know, like add a light here on half of her face here, and then half of it here, right? Just, you know, let's just compare this to this, right? This is much clearer, right? This is much clearer and understandable what's going on because the values are so correct, right? And all I have to do is, you know, just add my line work layer on top, and then you can, you know, you can go in and then you can paint out the shadows where the light is not going to be hitting her, you know. Then you can add form shadows here. You know, again, your line work is amazing. It's really, really good. It's just your values are suffering. And because of that, no amount of line work is going to save you, right? So again, just, you know, when you're turning your line work layer off, make sure that your values are super clear. Yeah, that would be my only feedback, I think. Kind of cool how I can just extract line work like that. This is cool. This is really nice. I would just suggest, yeah, this is much stronger, I think. I would just, you know, maybe either make, you know, the background blurred and then had the focal point here, so we're not so distracted. But another thing is, like, in this painting, this is a really good comic book panel, but I would just make more of her face visible in here. because right now it's only the eyes and it's pretty cool and awesome. So it's either has to be that, because why is there a reason that you have a close-up of your camera? Why do you have a close-up of your camera here? Other than show her face, but then we only see, you know, a portion of her eye, right? So I would say either make this smaller and then actually like do her legs and then everything else and do it as a silhouette, but I think you already planned it as a close-up of her face. So I would really pay attention more to her face. I like the bounce light that you added everywhere, but yeah, again, like when you're gonna be doing bounce light or anything else, just look into your black and white. So for example, here there's a lot of, I call it naked gradient, so there's nothing happening in here. So I would just, by adding a few little, you know, I'm not sure, form shadows or bounce light shadows, if I just gonna do just this thing like right here, it's gonna become instantly more interesting. There's gonna be more form in the shadow, right? Because when you have a continuous frame with just a gradient, sometimes when they have a boring gradient like this, I add any color into it that doesn't make sense, and that looks better than nothing in there, because pure gradient is not very good. Yeah. And then okay, the insane detail frame, super. Again, I am a big fan of your line work. Like, this is amazing. Like, I tried to do something like this for my Viking project, and you know what, that's probably where I'm gonna ask for your help. And I need to do gates and shields. I'll be like, Aster, please, can you do all that? But the one thing I'm gonna tell you again is your detail distribution. I really love what you're doing here. It's awesome. I love this. This is super solid. But I really don't like this, because why do we need so many lines on those rocks over here? Right? Why do we need so many lines over here? It's just you know, make it simple. Make it 3 lines. Why do you have so many in here? Because we already have an insane amount of detail here. Just, you know, don't redo it. It doesn't look bad, but again, it's a mindset for the future. And it works in terms of color. It's pretty great. One thing that I would maybe, I'm not sure if this thing is this thing glowing, by the way? Is this thing glowing? The sword itself? Bastard! Is the sword glowing? Okay, cool. Then no questions. I would just, you know, to make it more graphically appealing, I would just, you know, I would just make, you know, if it's a comic book, I would just, you know, I would just do something like this. I would just give my full attention to this, and I would add it. I would have almost did the gate pure black almost, so it's more graphic, I guess. What's this? This reminds me of a frame from, what's his name? He did I forgot. He did this comic book project on ArtStation about some ancient sword that is very wavy. What's his name? You probably know him, Master. I don't know. Is it Tellurion? No, it's not Tellurion. Is it Tellurion? I don't remember. But you know what I'm talking about. Something about a sword. But yeah, overall, very nice. I would read this comic 100%, especially if it had so many pretty things in it. Yeah, it's very nice. Just pay attention to your values. Cool. Okay, Paulina, hey everyone. Even after yesterday, Peach Media, I want to listen to all the stories of our community. To know even more about seeing those keyframes. You guys are so cool. P.S. And here are my keyframes. Fix them a bit. Part composition, colors, and other. Yeah, super solid. I love this kind of style of rendering, to the point. Not, You know, neutral colors are there where they're needed to be. Super nice, super epic. I love it. Highlight color, super nice. This is okay. I would like to have the trash or whatever this is more defined and where she's running, and maybe have her run a little bit closer to here versus here, because there's a lot of unused space in here and I have no idea what's going on. So I would really define the trash a little bit more and then move her to the left, but I love the rendering style. And yeah, this is super awesome, super solid. I love that. I'm not sure if there's maybe more of a broken CT in the background, but this is a super solid composition, and you could be a really great keyframe artist. It's so funny how your style and then Katya's style, not sure if Katya is here, are very similar in terms of rendering, probably because you both maybe worked for mobile games, I don't know. But I like it. Very, very, very good. Very nice. Right, Doromato, let's go. Right, first thing first. Big improvement on everything. Good job. One thing I'm gonna tell you. Ooh, I got scared. You know, first of all, values. So you have a lot of dark shadows here. Have some fill light in there so they're not so dark. It's not always good just to have multiply layer on, then just do the shadows. Nice rendering with the guy. Again, silhouettes are everything. Like for example, this tree is darker than this guy, and either move him here so his face pops on top of the tree, or the tree's behind him and it pops on top of that, right? Or just push the tree back into the forest, into the shadows, right? Because this guy also, there's a tangent, like his nose is right. It's like he just walked into the tree. Yeah. First it's the garage doors, then the house doors coming for you. But it's very nice. This is pretty cool. Like the perspectives is a little bit wonky on this creature. So make sure you maybe have a little bit of a form to it. And then maybe the boys should be looking, both of them should be looking there. But this is very nice, I like it. Yeah, and I like that this is a big blast and then everything's gonna be dead. Super cool, I love it. Just continue doing what you're doing. All right, Colleen, hello. I'm making a character point out of the frame by mystery. Right, I have some feedback on this one. First of all, super solid local colors. Everything is super nice. Temperatures are nice. But I have only one feedback probably is I think this town looks a little bit like little dwarfs live in them, and they're like this high to the guys. Yeah, I think it's because you have some scale issues here. So like if I were you, I would just, I would probably just, push everything into the background so the town looks farther away. Yeah, other than that, it's pretty diffused lighting. But even with diffused lighting, I would probably maybe would have pushed more of their, underside into the shadow for more realistic kind of approach to all of this. And I would have had more darker gradients in them, so they just look as part of the environment a little bit more. Same with those folks. Yeah, so only two things. One, the CT looks a little bit toy-like. I do not get the sense of scale yet. So you need to either maybe, have super little houses here somewhere to show that there is scale and that they're becoming so far away, right? Or move this whole thing into somewhere here, just so you have more of a thing going to the distance. But other than that, it's again, I'm nitpicking. It's pretty good. It's really nice. All right, let's see. So we had this, and now we have this. Cool. I forgot his glasses now. Paint them now. Blah, blah, blah. Let's have to give more love to the girl in the background. Super cool. Very nice. Very, very, very nice. I see some grain on top of everything, and super nice. Yeah, this is painted very nice. Just really bad that this guy has to die soon. um, yeah, I don't think I have much things to say about this, honestly. You can make this background a little bit darker if you want to, but I think it's pretty cozy and pretty awesome. One thing that I'm not sure if you have, maybe add some, reflections in their eyes that is really interacting with here. But other than that, it's pretty solid, man. Super cool. I love it. Very nice. All right, Gosthiev. Okay, cool. One thing, like, I like that you have so much contrast on her. Maybe have a little bit of more contrast on this guy. And also, this is very freaking orange. So there's gonna be some there's gonna be some cold purplish brown colors on the other side of this thing. There's gonna be more of a fill light. And then this general area needs a little bit more of contrast variation, because right now it's too monochrome, too orange. Needs to add that color variation, color vibrancy into it. Like into the flag, you can use a half tone of a blue here, for example. Yeah, I even feel like this guy can be a little bit closer to here, and she can be just a little bit more to the left, because it looks like you are a little bit too cramped over here. Or again, maybe it's because she's the most contrasty thing. When you're going to be adding contrast to the left, here, and here, she's going to be balanced out. It's a super solid frame, just needs to be a little push. Okay, Mandarina, let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. Show me what you got. All right. Cool. Awesome. Just lose this super dark shadow. Needs a little bit of love. Just, I'm pretty sure you know what needs to push in here. Just continue on here. It's pretty solid. Just don't cheat too much of everything, but just blur. This background is not too complex, so you should finish it. This is super cool. I like this a lot, actually. I like this a lot. He falls down. I would just push this pose a little bit, like he's like half bent or something, because he looks a little bit too angular to me. Yeah, super cool. He's in your world now. Very nice. If you want, there's this super cool guy named Borodante art, and he does this cool project called something. I'm not very useful, am I? Let's see if I can find it, but he has like a little story about like a guy that really reminds me of your stuff. So if you just Google Boradante, you might find it. I can't find it right now, right from the bat, but super solid, super cool. All right, let's see. Tim. Nothing to add, nothing to lose. Good. That means it's my time to come in and then show you. So as I understand, she's standing and someone behind her is getting to her. Like, one thing that I'm gonna tell you, that maybe push the silhouette a little bit lower, so silhouette is actually readable when he's looking at her, or like maybe even you can expand it over here, so the face is actually like, the silhouette of the face is actually maybe here or something, that is, he's about to get her, maybe just to connect her, but we need to have where the face is, and a little bit more clear. Another thing is that like, if I gonna turn the saturation off, and I knew that it would happen, because you have so much saturation, you lose a lot of contrast. So like, for example, the lamp over here, it's gonna be something like this. Right, the table itself, it's not gonna be so orange, it's not gonna lose its local color. It's gonna become something like this, probably something like this, right? And there's other things shining onto it. And then another thing is like, not everywhere the chimney is. The chimney is not shining everywhere equally, and there's going to be fall off in the light itself. So what you can actually do, you can do something like this. It's just me doing it on a multiply layer, and then you can have half of her lit like this, and then here you have the, you know, the little thing, and then that can be, you know, lit by the fire over here maybe, and then you can have a little bit of that here. For example, right? Another thing is I would just do much clearer of a door silhouette. Something like this. Of course, there's going to be like carpets and everything else, but then have a clearer silhouette of a guy that is standing there. Maybe not this clear, but still somewhat something like this probably. So we get a sense of, you know, urgency that she's about to, something's about to happen. And then just for more contrast, maybe the wall in front of her can be lit more, but with that, you know, with that yellow thing like this. Maybe I can have like her shadow here or something. Maybe over here we can have more contrast with just maybe reds. Maybe there's some fall off, I think, but she needs to be more highlighted for sure. Just see if I made it worse. There's a little bit more mystery to it, I think. That sells the, you know, sells the moment. I'm also not a big fan of vertical formats, but then again, like here, you're gonna have a lot of bounce light from the carpet going down and over, almost red-like. And I would, you know, I would just balance it out with another painting here. I know it looks a little bit too symmetrical, but you know, this painting is very Lovecraftian anyway, so I think it's kind of cool. Yeah. And I would also maybe wouldn't put even more things into the shadow over here to show that there's real fall off of the light. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say. Like work on the chair a little bit. Yeah, so it's more defined a little bit. And then the shadows, right? So shadows can be pretty dramatic in this one. You can really go all out with those. I think you can lose some of the details in the shadow underneath the table. But it's pretty big improvement from the last time, man. Super cool. Yeah, something like this. And maybe even we can add a shadow of this person writing or something. I'm not sure how it's gonna look. You need to experiment a lot with it. But this way it's pretty dramatic and cool, and it's like this guy's just, you know, he's just writing something, or it's a girl, I'm not sure. Maybe I would, you know, another thing is that you need to have your what do you want to call it, fireplace in the perspective. And maybe I would have added like a little carpet over here, just to sell that perspective. And also I would add like, you know, little things for you know, when they were cleaning the chimneys just to populate the scene, and it's also gonna create cool and interesting shape on the wall in terms of the shadows, and it's just gonna look nice. Maybe not so contrasty. And then maybe I would add, like, you know, like there's well, you know, a ring with what those called candles, maybe not, maybe darker, yeah, something like this, right? And then maybe there's like a barrel or something, and there's maybe, you know, more candles everywhere. Yeah, so something like that. Sorry, it's not perfect, but I think you get a sense of. Here's a screenshot for you. Yeah. Hey, Stefano. Okay. I'm so close. Okay, not really. Lera, too late. No. All right, let's see. Oh my god, got this. Got these. We're only being at this for 3 hours, guys. Come on. Also, I need to pee. I'll make sure I mute myself this time. Right, I gotta go pee. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. All right. Been traveling back home this past couple of days. Already did my 3 keys, but I saw a bit behind by dog to get back on track. Okay, cool. So a guy looks at the water and then dives after it, finds a pearl, and then starts dancing with her. Okay. I like it. Cool. Compositions are solid. Very, very nice. Not sure if she's flipping him off here. She's like, but other than that, super cool. I like it. And this is the layout. Super cool layout. Very like kind of like Klaus-like. I like it. Very nice. Continue. Horus, tried my best to finish it, but sadly couldn't do it. But I think I still could use some feedback to continue working on it and define the color feedback. Honestly, this is not pushed enough further to feedback. Like, I'm pretty sure you know that there's no lighting yet in this scene, right? This local colors need to be blocked in a little bit more to the context. I'm gonna tell you, use more reference. This guy's blocked in, he's not in the value. So for this one, like, guys, I need you to try to finish everything to the best of your ability so I can feedback it, because if you don't finish it to your best ability, I'm not here to paint for you, I'm here to guide you, and this is not yet finished. So it's a nice start, I like it, but it definitely needs more, just more sitting and thinking. So I'm gonna just tell you, good job, you're on the right track. But other than that, use more reference. The lighting, I'm not sure where the lighting is coming from. And then maybe move this guy a little bit closer, like right here, because they're too far away from each other. So I'll just move them here a little bit. Other than that, yeah. Okay, so your values were much better. Values work. But again, we need to feel like, is there going to be some shadows here where the light is coming from? Is it diffused? Is it not diffused? Maybe there's going to be some, shadows from the leaves. All of that. The shadow or the value range is pretty nice. I love it. Just move the guy a little bit to the left. Just a little bit. Just like right here. All right, Natalia, figure design for stuff in my keyframes this week. Still too rough on lines to move with color stage. Okay. Okay, awesome. Love this. Really like this too. You done it traditionally even. I love it. Make sure you attach this to your diploma stuff. Hey Annie, hello. I was really busy in moving, so I don't manage to finish this interior, but I made as much progress as I could. The other 3 keyframes soon. I really did such an amazing work. Woohoo! All right, let's see. Let's appreciate this one. Okay, cool. Very Annie style, but I gotta just say that even though I appreciate your expressionist approach to everything, just make sure that everything is clear. Like right now, you have a lot of values in there, so maybe either darken them or use this value to make them pop, because right now it's too over the top to the value range. Because if I gonna just do this, everything completely merges. The silhouettes are not readable. The foreground is super awesome. It's just over here you'll need to either this one is going to be the hard one, so you'll need to figure out what's your value range is going to be in all of this, so they read as good as possible. Another thing, I know that you, and thank you for connecting to those to those compositions with something. I think I mentioned the last time that they were too far away from each other. Now it's awesome. But yeah, like for example here, I know that you probably roughly blocked everything in, and then you even photo bashed some stuff in, and I love how bold and expressive you are on all of those things. Just needs to have a little. This is a great underpainting. I already see it being finished. You just need to work on that. This reads good and this reads good. Even though it's overexposed, make sure that there's still some form in them. But other than that, this is amazing. Especially this girl. She's like, wow. I love it. It's really, really cool. It's very, very cool. All right. Oh my god, am I finished? All right, I'll do it. I'll say it to you later. Super cool beginning. This is very nice. I was gonna tell you one thing. Just even in monochrome paintings, just make sure like you have things like this. See, I love this color right here. So make sure you can use it to break down your monochrome look, and then maybe have have the same shade of gray on the opposite side of their faces, to make sure that you're not only doing everything in monochrome, but you also have some desaturated, interesting cold tones in there to have some variety in there. Other than that, you're on the right track. Composition is super solid. I remember even when I was commenting your black and white thing, this is super cool and super awesome. I love it. It's very, very nice. Very traditional, like expressionistic, and then you add detail where they're needed, and then where not needed. I love the way you simplify things, and I love that you also are very impressionistic about like what's going on in here, and there's still depth. Yeah, I think this is super solid. The only thing is maybe like those guys are competing with this guy. Maybe like I would maybe even think about like adding a guy instead of this guy, just adding a guy who's like standing here on the watch, behind him, so this guy has as much acting area as possible. But even if you don't, this is still super solid. I like the position of those guys too. This is just me nitpicking, but I love this. This is super solid, super cool. I love how you control, especially I really like how you did colors with this guy. I'm sure this one is pretty tricky because he's such a dark spot, but then you balance it out. But I'm not sure if you had a traditional background, but you do paint very, very kind of traditionally like, or you had a really good reference. I'm not sure, but yeah, this is super solid. Maybe one thing that like maybe this helmet is a little bit too far to the right. Maybe you can move it right here, so it's a little bit more visible and have a little bit more bounce light in it. But again, this is just me nitpicking. One thing that I would like to see, and maybe some kind of like a cool symbol in here on the map that looks awesome, like a like a family crest or something like that. But even if you just leave it out like this is super cool. I love it. I love it a lot. And yeah, 3 hours and 5 minutes, new record. I am really tired.
Let's go have lunch.
What?
Let's go have lunch. I made you lunch.
All right, guys. So this is it for tonight. We did it, or I guess I did it. You're all very talented and super awesome people. You're like freshly baked clay. Not even baked. Croissants, yeah. You're like freshly baked croissants. Nice and sweet and then tasty.
Uh-oh.
I have no idea what I'm saying.
You're very tired.
I'm very tired, yeah. That's it for today, guys. You're amazing. Continue. Please rest good on a Sunday. On a Monday, we're going to continue on talking about keyframes. I'm just going to show you another process. I think Monday lecture is going to be pretty short. But yeah, the next 2 feedbacks is going to be just solely talking about your keyframes for the rest of the thing, yeah. Yeah. Goodbye, guys. You're the best Vikings I ever know. Stay hydrated, skull, all that stuff, and talk Monday. Ka-chow.